infrequent or trivial ones described only briefly. We felt it was important, however, to consider fully the major diseases of entry. So, for example, ischemic heart disease, diabetes, mellitus, and colon cancer is the same in both the textbooks. Okay? But congenital anomalies of kidney, for example, there may be one example in basic pathology and 10 in the biological science. So, the difference was not just to shake everything down, but to make a very clear charge what to keep and what not to keep. So this is a photograph of the Galvin Institute of Pathology faculty and residents in 1972, a few months before I arrived in Boston in the same institution. As was mentioned by someone, I went there, I was very research intensive. Dr. Dev and Dr. Ramani Swami had inspired me and instilled me the desire to do research. And so, soon after I arrived in Boston, I started working on leukemia. And 2 years later, in 1974, I had my first publication, Mechanism of Genetic Resistance to Hereditary leukemia in mice. And we don't have to go into great detail, essentially describing, Dr. David remember because I came back and he had to stop. A new subset of cells, we call them M cells at that time. You remember that? And you were even bad enough to put them in a PG question, exam question later on. So what kind of it? Depending on from whose side we are looking at. So this was very exciting for me because we are at the threshold of discovery of a novel cell in the immune system. So I was very happy. You know, imagine I go there in 72, in 2 years I have a major paper. This is the most important paper I've written in my life. Okay? So I was a researcher. I was a full-time researcher, and also I was in charge of teaching pathology to medical students. So in 1976, so I obtained my first NIH grant, and I had a student. This is John Last. He's an MD PhD student, now a professor at Mayo Clinic. And this is, believe it or not, it's actually me. And this is my first Dell technician, Mary Gamalas, who would have become a scientist except for the fact that she met another medical student who was working in my lab, and they both got married, and he became a pathologist and she became a housewife. So why have I brought this picture of 1979? And the reason for that is, one day in 1979, Dr. Rob called me to his office. He rarely called people in his office. He was a busy man, always writing books. If you wanted to talk to you, he would come over to you. I got a message from Secretary Dr. Robert wants to meet you. So, I was an assistant professor at that time. And I was, fully engaged in my lab, my students, my research was going well. By this time, we published 4 additional papers on the same subject. And so I went there, and he looked at me, and I sort of described the room. He had a big desk. So I come in the office, I'm standing next to the desk, and there was a big window on the right side of his office. Those of you know Boston, that's almost Albany Street and the Navy Street College. So he went over to that window, and put his arms on the windowsill, looked out, and then turned towards me and said, he used to call me Vin. He said, Vin, one of these days I will retire. I wonder if you consider becoming a poet. Lightning strike. Imagine, I was barely sad. Came out of the blue, and I started to fumble, stammer. Don't worry, you don't have to say yes now. You don't have to give me an answer. Go back and eat, and then come back. So I walked out to his office, and my senior colleague Michael Bennett was standing waiting there. What happened? Are you okay? I said, Dr. Ram just called me to his office. What happened? I said, he asked me to become a boy. So he said, what did you say? said, I will think about it. He said, are you an idiot? Go back and tell them, yes. I mean, do you realize, what has happened? I said, but I'm not sure. I have a research lab. I don't know all these things. Anyway, so, rather than shamelessly